All right. I am looking forward to introducing you, Dan, because Dan and I'd say we've known each other for a little over a year now, and we've become kind of integrated into each other's life. Dan Metcalfe is a former head coach on the Olympic Development Program and trainer to professional athletes. He had a life-changing experience of his own that he will share with us today. As a coach, Dan experienced the truth that performance is as much 90% mental, and yet the time spent was 90% physical. As he built teams and individuals to overachieve and reach new heights, he created programs that were not just for athletes, but for everyone who is willing to tap into their own potential in all walks of life, and to become an inspiration to themselves, and as such, all those around them. Dan's mission is a better quality of life, living, where we have that quality that we can support ourselves in life, physically, mentally, and spiritually. His teachings stem from the power of the brain as our power source. And you will learn a new way to think of physical aging in your life. And this is one thing that really draws me to Dan, is how he empowers others around their age to maximize your potential, no matter your age, and to discover this program that is so simple, yet brings an impact that sustains health and mobility for years to come. So with that long introduction, because I wanted to make sure I got everything in that I feel about Dan and that I know about him, I'm going to turn the time over to him as he and I discuss the brain, aspects of life, and you get to know him like I do. Dan.
Thanks, Lisa. What an entrance. Could you do that again? That sounded great.
Yeah, no problem.
The second longest intro ever. No, but I really appreciate it. It's great being here. I've heard so many great things, knowing you, Lisa, but what you've told me about the people that are in your community. And it's an honor for me to be here. I've been able to work with many, many people over the years, but I had a dramatic experience that happened to me that actually changed everything I thought I knew. And so my mission now in life is to share what I've learned, not because I know, because I was actually gifted with the opportunity to experience what so many people are experiencing themselves, which comes down to, I've been an athlete. For some of you, you may know who Andrew Lloyd Webber is. I played the lead in his shows, toured the world with him, and had a pretty bad accident that changed my life. I had to I went back into coaching, so I've been a professional athlete, a professional soccer player. And suddenly I found I had a gift for coaching and teaching. But I would tell you, I was a ballet dancer. I didn't start till I was 19. I became a professional ballet dancer, jazz, tap, modern wisdom. And that taught me more about the body than anywhere else that I've been. I used to be a triathlete. I raced the Ironman, and I had a terrible accident. I was out on a bike ride and got hit in the head in 2018 by a metal pole that knocked me immediately unconscious. I was unconscious for over 3 minutes. I had a double impact as my head hit the ground afterwards, already unconscious. And part of my brain died, and I had to learn to talk again. I had to really understand, how could I help myself get better? Because when I went to the doctors, they were it's just the way it is. You're getting older. I'm not getting older. I had an accident. How do I retrain my brain to be able to function properly as a human being? Because we're all born to be great. We're all born to heal. We're made to heal. And there's always a solution to every problem we have if we have the right mindset. So that's really my message that goes on and tells you a little bit. But I want to tell you a little bit more about the discovery and how it came about. Anybody here ever heard of Bob Eubanks? Yeah, Bob Eubanks, who hosted the Newlywed Game, the Rose Parade out here for 38 years. He brought the Beatles to America. People don't know that. He managed Merle Haggard, Dolly Parton, all these different things. But I was at Netflix with Bob pitching a movie that I had written. And Bob was 79 years old and couldn't get out of a chair. And at the end of the meeting, he was shuffling out. He had fallen a number of times. At the time, I also owned a performance training gym here in Los Angeles that was world renowned, and all my training was about movement. It was all about power of movement, because going to a gym and just lifting weights didn't transfer itself onto the playing field. But I also worked with everyday athletes. All of you are athletes, right? As much as you might look at it and say, well, I'm not. Inside, you're an athlete. And sometimes we limit ourselves to what we can do. If you can move and you can increase your speed and decrease your speed, change direction, you're an athlete. So I said to Bob, let me train you. And Bob was like, no, I know you're too tough a trainer, and I'm 79. I go to physical therapy and I have this stuff going on. And he kind of refused. But on Sunday night, I remember back in 2000, it was actually 17, before I had my head injury, he called me and said, Dan, I need help. As we begin to age or have neurological changes that happen to us, it could be MS, Parkinson's, strokes, just different things that occur to our body as we age or have accidents or different things come to us. We have to look at it and say, I can't deny what's happening. I have to accept what's happening before it gets to the point, which is point 2, where I know I have a problem now because I denied it for a while. And now I don't know what to do because I've let it go too long. Bob had actually got to the 3rd phase, which is fear. I'm now scared to move because I didn't take action quick enough, but I want to get my life back. I said to Bob, and I ask all of you this question as well. How old would you be? Robin. Hi, Robin.
Lisa.
Oh, there you go. Robin said, Lisa.
I don't think I could be here. You don't have closed caption.
I know, sweetheart. We didn't know that we were going to be on Zoom, so it wasn't set up. I know. Okay. Go ahead, Dan. I'll text.
Sure. Hi, Robin. So what I wanted to ask all of you, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? See, if you listen to the voice that's inside you, it's younger than how you really are, but we let society and our knowledge of what we should or shouldn't be dominate who we really are. So I brought Bob in, and within 2 minutes of training Bob, I knew I was training wrong. It changed my life because of the way that I saw Bob reacting. See, I was trying to get him to do certain things, but his body wouldn't allow him. So when I made it safer, his body suddenly got strong. And I realized the problem, or where I needed to go to, was to retrain the brain. And I'm going to give you some tips tonight of things that can help you very, very quickly gain better connection between the brain and the body, because a healthy body, as you'll discover as we talk, is critical to a healthy brain, and the mind will determine where you go. So what I started thinking of, let me say that again. For those of you that have kids, think about when you had babies, and all of us were babies at some time. In fact, I was born really young. But when we were babies, which gym did we go to learn to walk? Or if you had kids, which gym did you take them to help them learn to walk? And this was my discovery training Bob Eubanks. Obviously, we didn't. And there's so many people that go out and do daily activities, daily life, that have never been to a gym and yet function fantastically, in fact, better than some people that go to the gyms. So I started looking and said, when a baby tried to learn to get mobile, and it's all about mobility, they stood and fell, and they stood and fell, and they stood and fell. And eventually they stood, and all of you went, yeah, look at them. And then they took their first step and fell. Then you learn where you go, come here, and they'd take 3 steps and throw themselves into your arms, and you'd lift them up and celebrate and be excited. And eventually they learned to walk, run, crawl under bushes, climb trees, jump fences, ride bikes. And all that was happening was the proprioceptive connection at the back of the brain, which is the cerebellum above your spinal column, engaged in pressure points. And that's really what it was. It's all pressure point changing, that as I move, what's my new pressure point? Or as I begin to move and I feel off balance, how do I correct that really quickly? Now, I was fortunate enough to train, Olympic athletes, gold medal winners, world record holders, and amazing ladies who used to come to an abs, thighs and buns class that I used to teach. And everyone has these goals that they want to, strive to achieve, to feel healthier, to feel better, and sometimes to think that they look better. And if you put in the work, you'll be very proud of your results. So as we went along, I started training Bob. In 3 weeks, he went from where he was to 6 miles an hour on a treadmill, running up and down stairs, back playing golf, walking around everywhere. But the program was never created except for Bob. But then I started being asked to train other people because they saw his results. Again, it was about brain training, but starting with the mindset of, Bob, we're going to make you better. You can get better. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where we go, because the journey is only when you step over the start line that you can actually start to find the direction you want to go. So I was fortunate enough to train Shirley MacLaine. Some of you may know who Shirley MacLaine is. Absolute genius lady. She has a movie coming out with Peter Dinklage next year. Well, yeah, next year. And it was a pleasure to be able to get to know her really well. But the most important for me was my own mother. My own mother, who at the same time was 79. I went back for her 80th birthday and found out she had had a stroke. She was still functional. She was still doing well, but she had to give up line dancing because she could no longer move. And, you know, it's like everyone turns and she goes, okay, I want to turn, but her body wouldn't react. And so what happened was she had to stop line dancing. She got in everyone's way. So I put her on the program, and 5 days later, she went back to line dancing. Now, what better thing could it be for a son who had been gifted birth by his mother to be able to gift her the beauty and life again of living? In fact, she came to visit me about 2 months ago. She's 84, and she had said to me, Dan, there's 2 things in life I've never done that I wanted to do. One was ride a bike, and I've never taken a ballet class, and ballet was her passion. From the Turning Point and Baryshnikov and Nureyev and all the different people in there. At 84 years old, she took her first ballet class, which was amazing. And we went for a bike ride down in the coast on PCH. And at 84, she's living, doing things that she had never done before in her life. So let me move on from that, because this is, I want to be able to share with you some of the things that I've discovered and learned from training now tens of thousands of people worldwide. The first thing is how critical it is to be hydrated. I want you to take this in. This is a tip for you. You have to stay hydrated. You may not realize, but a professional athlete at 3% dehydration is 20% less performance. Think about that. 3% dehydration is 20% less performance. And you may not know that your brain is 2% of your body weight, roughly 2% of your body weight, but 20% of your energy goes into your brain. Now, think of it this way. Your brain is made up like another organ or like a muscle of about 70% of fluid, water. So is your heart, which also has the blood that goes through it. If you're not hydrated and the blood becomes thicker, your heart has to work harder to pump a thicker blood around your body. It doesn't go as quickly around your body. And we know that blood through the red blood cells creates the oxygen that feeds your cells. So that's the first thing you need to understand. If you want to stay active with your brain and body, with your mind and body and the ability to think, hydration is critical. And I'm talking, you'll see in here, I have a bottle that I use that has a certain amount that I have to drink every couple of hours. But again, I urge you, it's just a little tip, hydrate. When you feel hungry, take a drink before you eat. It will be a reminder that that hunger is also reminding you drink, because I guarantee you more than 50% of people over the age of 50 are in a constant state of dehydration. So I want you to think about that. Now, the second thing is think about, has any of you ever gone out and gone for a run or gone for a walk and you got a cramp? Okay, sometimes it can just happen laying in bed and you've been doing some exercise and your hamstring cramps. Thanks, Sylvia. So what happens in Jeanette? So what happens in here is the body is protecting itself from further injury. I know when I was an athlete, if I got a cramp, the first thing we did was drink some water, get some salt in me, eat a banana, all these different things they said. But the reason the body gets into a cramp is because if you kept going, it would tear the muscle, it stops. Now, the brain, if you begin to be dehydrated, you know what happens is you get a headache, you get a little disoriented, you can't focus as much, you can't think as much. And so those type of things are signs of what happens when you're dehydrated. if you were hydrated, your brain and your mind would be working better. Now, think about this. When someone is in the desert and they're dehydrated, and we know, you see the oasis and all the different illusions that come up, what happens is the brain begins to shut down certain parts of the brain that doesn't need to be active for survival. Now, we're talking about an extreme case, right? You're out in the desert and you got no water and you're grossly dehydrated. But the brain has defense mechanisms that will start to shut down little pieces to protect the pieces that you know and you need to be able to function at the level that you best can. Now, second tip. Has anybody ever here heard of the hippocampus? Okay, the hippocampus, it's on both sides of the brain, and it's a little area in your brain that really governs your creativity. It governs your memory. It governs your social awareness. And it is the area that creates the most cells in your body, the neurons and the brain cells, to help you function. Now, they maximize out at the age of 25 to 30. I'm going to give you, this is another huge tip. In fact, probably the biggest tip I can give you. Between 25 and 30 is when you maximize out. And the neurological world knows that once you hit 30, it begins to decrease at 1% every single year. And it's the #1 reason for neurodegenerative disease. That means that as it begins to lose 1% every year, you can't function and develop new brain cells at the speed you need to, and you decline. Beautiful. Because they did a test and a study on 100 people where they took 50 of them and put them into a group where they just did static exercise. In other words, stretching, a little bit of movement, but nothing that really raised the heart rate. The scientists that did the test, and I saw them, I was able to watch them doing the presentation. They then took the other 50 and they put them into a group that high-powered walked 4 days a week for about 40 minutes a day. At the end of a year, a whole year, the group that wasn't active, that wasn't moving, that wasn't creating cardiovascular work had lost 1.4% of the size of the hippocampus. Think about that, 1.4. You said, it's what we expected. I'm like, it's not what you expected. You said 1% a year. If it's 1.4 in 2 years, you've lost 3 years. It was worse than you expected. But the group that was active, that did the workout, the cardio engagement, improved by 2%. They didn't even lose. They did all the study by doing the MRI scanning and seeing what was happening. And the whole neurological world changed its perspective that we can continue to develop new brain cells, new neurons, that we can, again, function above what society used to expect, because most of us will listen to our doctors.
We're getting close.
So most of us will listen to the doctor that says, you're getting older, it's just the way it is. You got a bad knee, you probably won't heal. Sit down, rest, take it easy. And we've learned to have a comfortable life, and comfort, unfortunately, has come down to don't move. The less you move, the more comfortable you are. But what you're really doing is you're taking away the ability to function far into your 80s, 90s, even 100s. I've got people that are 100s that are doing the program that have incredible skills because they refuse to listen to the outside world that didn't care about them as much as they needed to care about themselves. Now, this comes down to mindset, which I love. When I talk to Lisa, we're always going back and forth and inspiring each other, because we know if 80% of performance is mental, 80 to 90% is mental, how much are you truly doing in your life of the mental training where we suffer physically, but we don't take proactive action to turn around and say, our brain is brilliant. You are a miracle every single day. The brain is the most powerful computer in the world. And if you don't believe it, then already the mindset is saying we need to change your thought, because you will never get better without thinking of yourself as the best. Anybody here got a physical injury or something that's holding them back? Probably something, right? All of us have something. Do you ever sit there and moan about it? Or do you ever turn around and complain about it? Because the relationship you have between you and your body, the relationship you have between you and your body would determine the direction it goes. There was a test that they did, and you can go and find this on YouTube, where they took two seeds, put it in two separate pots with exactly the same soil in exactly the same sunlight, and they turn around and watered it exactly the same. And one, they put love on and they talked to it beautifully. And one, they put hate on. I don't like that word, even saying it, I don't like, because it generates stuff. But they did exactly the same thing, talked with love to one and with disgust to the other. Go search it and watch how time and time again, one flower flourished and the other died. So with your life and with the injuries that you have, do you cuss it out or do you embrace it? The other day I had a bad back. I'd gone on a long car drive and my lower back had gone out. And that night when I went to bed, I said, okay, get out of your way, brain, go to work. I love my lower back. I love my lower back. When I wake up, I'm going to feel better. Now go to work. Because instead of moaning about it, I sent it love. And sure enough, the next morning, my back was so much better. Not perfect, but it was so much better. Why? Because the mindset had changed. As Lisa teaches,
you can watch TV if you want.
Thank you.
As Lisa taught and teaches as well, your mindset is everything. So this is part of the training that we do, because again, if you don't believe, you won't achieve. But also being realistic into the same actions, that if you believe, you've also got to give yourself freedom. Every morning I wake up, I put my hand on my head, and this isn't about me, this is what I've experienced. Put my hand on my head. In fact, before I say that, how many of you here love Starbucks? Anybody ever said, I love Oh, Sylvia, yeah. Anybody ever turned around and said, I love that pair of shoes? Anybody ever said, I love that dress, or I love that team, or I love it? You all said that. How many of you ever turned around and said, I love my brain? Where you give love is where you flourish. After I had my head injury and I started studying the brain, every morning I wake up, I put my hand on my head and said, I love my brain. It's your life force. It's your power force. So by doing this and doing it, it's amazing. I got smarter quicker than I had ever been in my life. So I started giving love. I always say, give love to three things. I love my brain. I love my heart. Remove either of those, you don't have that good a life anymore, right? And the other thing is, I love my life. Even through the struggles, it will never get better without that. So let's move this forward now, because we started talking about all the other things that are going on, and the ability for the exercise now to impact your hippocampus. But your balance and movement comes from the cerebellum. As we talked about earlier, the cerebellum is at the back. The two have to work together, as you do with the frontal cortex. They all work together in here. So the number one thing is movement. Think about if you don't engage your brain, and your brain is created for movement. Think about someone that's been in a coma. The first thing that we notice when they come out of the coma is a movement of the body. It's getting pretty heavy now, right? A little, maybe too heavy, but think about it. If that's the first action of a brain to show that it's back engaged. And when I had my accident on the bike, I've got video of it. I lay on the ground motionless for 3 minutes. And the first thing that happened was my fingers started moving. It was like I was rebooting, and then my body was trying to find out what was still alive. If we have that power, the movement also has to be dynamic for the brain. In fact, they were looking in here and said that, so I'm just looking at some stats that I'd written down here, but the brain will only function with movement. Everything comes from movement. Even breathing is a form of movement. But again, if you want to build the brain, and they say that movement is as critical to the brain as your nutrition, as your sleep. It's the three main things for brain. You got to have your amigo, you got to have your proteins, you've got to have your iron, you've got to have zinc. Certain things will feed the brain, and white bread is one of the worst things for the brain. And that's bad because I had some yesterday, but I'm not going to confess that one. But it tasted so good, but in moderation. But again, what is it that we can do every single day to encourage the brain to grow? What is your lifestyle and what is your commitment to be able to say, okay, I've got this desire to live my best. I was born to be the best. I'm amazing. If I asked any of you today how old you are, and you never ask a lady how old she is, right? So I'm going to ask Lisa then to ask me how old I am.
Dan, how old are you?
How rude. No, I mean, sorry. Okay, here's the answer. I'm amazing. Society judges us by age, and as a result, we've judged ourselves by age. Again, I go to the doctor, my knee's hurting. Oh, Dan, you're getting older. No, I played soccer last night. I twisted my knee. I want to get better. So this is one thing I'm going to ask to add to your day. When someone asks you how old you are, it doesn't matter. You can say your age if you want, but say, I'm amazing. The reason being is far beyond telling them who they are, because people would judge you relative to your age. My mum still works 6 days a week at the age of 84, but she doesn't like to tell people her age. And I got into trouble for saying it on a live meet, because people then wouldn't go to her as a doctor because they would judge that she doesn't know, and yet she's a phenomenal doctor. So why do I have people turn around and say, I'm amazing? It's one reason. If you turn around and you judge yourself relative to your age and other people like, oh, you're doing great for your age. No, I'm doing great. Oh, you look younger for your age. No, I'm young. That's their perception and how you feel that you don't have to defend yourself. But most important, and this is the number one reason, what message are you sending to yourself? What message are you sending to yourself when you say your age with already a preconceived notion of what that age should be? I feel like I'm older than I really am. I know I feel 50, but my body feels like it's 80. What message are you sending? Think about this. If you turn around in your mind and honestly say, I'm amazing, what message is every single cell from your brain going around your body? Think about it. It goes, I'm amazing. That's the message, and your messaging from your mindset through your brain to your cells that then regenerate your body would turn around and react in a completely different way, because we know as our mood changes, so does our physicality. As our thought process changes, so does our mood. And if we can change that quickly, so can our cells, because we are only a compound of our thought and our self-messaging.
Dan, I'm going to interrupt you here for just a minute, and because I want to add something here. I would say that most of my female clients bump up against age. They feel that they're too old to start a career, a new business. They feel that if they're single, all the good men are taken. And they really bump up against this scarcity of time with age, right? It's a big deal. And often they see that modeled from their mother, from a previous generation, or their grandmother, where at 50, you should be retiring. At 50, you shouldn't be working anymore. And so some of that is modeled, some of it's learned behavior, but it's very real. And so I love that you're giving a suggestion on how to reprogram that. And to go a little bit along with when we say positive things to ourselves in that moment, what it does as it retrains the brain, it helps reprogram our wiring. But it goes along with a study that was done by Dr. Emoto, and it was where he talked the love and hate to water. And then to water crystals, and how the love crystals that he spoke loving words to were a beautiful formation versus the opposite. So when we say I'm amazing, or just like you're saying, I'm amazing, in other words, I'm acknowledging that I'm brilliant at this age, what that does is it's going to help formulate the brain into that beautiful crystalline energy, like you're saying. So I think it's really important that we accept our age, and that doesn't mean we have to share it, but it means that time, I really believe time can begin and we can have a second lease on life no matter how old we are. And I've seen it happen over and over again. All right. I really wanted to contribute that.
No, I love that.
Yeah, because I think it's really vital, the words we say to ourselves. So even if somebody doesn't say to you, ladies and men on here, how old are you? What's the dialogue going on in your head? Well, how can you flip that when you're thinking, when you're bumping up against age in your career, in your love life, in your own healing journey, and you feel like time is running out? How about saying, hey, I'm amazing?
100%. If I can just add, I'd like to go on a little tangent, Lisa, not too much, but I'm going to say something that's a little controversial. Well, not controversial. It's a little personal. It gets right to the meat of everything here. First off, the reason we get judged is because we're the only species in life that judges ourselves against each other.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's very real.
Nobody else judges. An apple doesn't look at another apple on the tree and go, I got to be greener. I got to be bigger. I got to be on a higher branch. I got to find more sun.
Maybe I should have been red, not green.
Exactly. Or they see an orange on another tree and says, I want to be orange.
Yeah.
Their job in life is purely to be the best version of them. And we've messed each other up because we turn around and judge ourselves compared to what an image that we've seen, something that we've heard, an age that we've been told that life shouldn't be this. The worst thing you can do is retire at 50. I'm not saying retire from work. I'm saying give up on having a goal and direction in life.
Exactly.
Because as soon as you do that, you'll hear it time and time again. People will turn around and say the worst thing, or they declined when they retired. Don't be scared of working. Enjoy the fact that it's not work. And sometimes it is work, right? Let's not kid each other. But I'm doing something with my life that keeps me relevant, because everybody is relevant and everybody can be an inspiration. If I can just say this real quick, Lisa, and I'll keep this short.
You don't need to. We're good.
Okay, great. I would like everybody then in that case to stand up if you can. And this is going to be a little bit, this is something that I do with a lot of athletes, but I do it with everybody. It's so important. Okay, what I want you to do, and if you're a little off balance or you don't feel safe, you can put your hands on a desk. What I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to picture a stadium. You're standing outside a stadium. And on the outside, it says, today, we're going to announce the best of the best. And you look around, there's all these people outside the stadium, and they start shepherding you in, and you walk in and you're on the field, but you look up and there's all the stands and it's getting packed in there, and you see a counter going up, and there's 1, 10,000, million, 2 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million. It hits 300 million people in there. Think about that. Think how big that stadium is. See the stadium, look around. See how big that's. 300 million people are in that stadium. Suddenly you see a little stage come up, the doors are shut. And this lady steps up on stage and goes, okay, thank you all for being here today. Today, I'm going to announce out of everyone in the stadium, the best of the best, and it's only one of you. Most of us would look around, see someone that's maybe fitter, maybe someone that's more beautiful, maybe some guy that's a hunk, maybe someone that's super smart that you've heard of, and everyone's looking around and you see the certain people that are standing there going, I know it's going to be me. But we tend to look around and wonder, who's it going to be? From that stage, she's standing on a little podium, and the podium begins to go up, and this little stand in there, and she rises above the crowd. and she's looking around and she catches eyes with you. She puts her hand out and says, come with me. And you look around, hang on a minute, me? No, is she pointing at me? She reaches her hand out and she grabs your hand and she pulls you up on that podium. She steps off and you go up higher than everybody else. And everybody starts cheering. Everybody starts applauding you. Your name comes up on the screen and it says, you are the best of the best. How do you feel? How would that make you feel? Some people would be embarrassed. Some people would feel awkward. Some people would say, finally, someone recognizes me. You may look at it and say, I never understood my worth. Everyone is applauding me and acknowledging that they wish they were me. Okay, open your eyes and sit down again, please. And thanks for that. Let me finish this up. This is where it gets, again, a little personal. When you were conceived, there's roughly 300 million sperm that are chasing that one egg. Maybe a little more, but not too many less. And along the way, the weakest die out. Some get lost. Some can't stand the journey. They've worn out. And you may get 4 or 5 that make it to the egg, and one was able to conceive you. You are made of the best of the best. Think about it. The best, the strongest, the most powerful created you. And the only way that you are so special and so unique is when you embrace yourself and turn around and say, I'm amazing. I am the best of the best. I'm not competing with anybody else. Nobody else was made with the best of the best in the way that you are. And when you can turn around and say, I am special, I'm the best of the best. I was born to be the best of the best. I was born to be successful. I was born to find love, maybe not in the time frame that society said that I should, but I'm certainly created to find the best of someone else. And before that time comes around, my job is to be my highest level of excellence. And that starts with believing in you. And I wanted to go off onto that tangent, Lisa, because when you realize what you're made of, and you shouldn't be judged against anybody, that's when you can embrace yourself and say, okay, now I want to become the best of me, the best of me. And it's amazing how it can embrace and change. And of course, you'll have doubts at times, but when you keep going back to the messaging that you are invaluable when you are yourself, you will find the right things for you because you've removed any negativity, fears, or worries. So I just wanted to share that because
That's
again,
excellent.
It's empowering. Thank you very much. So let me go on to, I want to tell you a little bit about the program that we have, because again, it's about movement for life and how once you've got your brain set, once you've got your mindset right, what can I now do irrelevant of age? I've been able to help children who were born with a neurological disease, the agenesis of the corpus callosum, where you don't have full integration of the left side of the brain. Autistic children, kids and seniors with cerebral palsy, where we got doctors endorsing us. And again, this was never created to be a problem. This was purely created to help Bob, but his success spread like wildfire. And we've got so much. In fact, Lisa's husband, who fantastic physical therapist, has in his physical therapy office as well. Mm-hmm. So I had to come up with a program that is used by anybody, athletes or people in their 90s and 100s, that would allow them to regain what we talked about earlier, which is pressure point training. Pressure point training is no different than a child does to learn to walk. And as we age and become less active or have a neurological change, we have to make sure that wiring stays. The wiring doesn't change in our body. It just becomes less strong at the speed of the messaging, unless you have a neurological disease, right? My own girlfriend has MS. She was in bed for 3.5 months before I met her. She didn't know if she'd ever be able to walk again. She got to a walker. She started doing the program. She's back running 10 miles an hour on a treadmill. She climbs 40-foot trees. She does all these agility assault courses. You'd never know that she has MS. That was part of the issue. She addressed her diet, a lot of other things, but the movement allowed the brain to also self-believe as well as self-activate and regrow. So how did I come up with a program that enabled Bob Eubanks to change his life around? I actually dreamt it, which is why I feel that that's my mission in life. It's a higher power. I was trying to create something. I was doing all this stuff I'd learned as a dancer, as a professional athlete, as a trainer, as a coach. I couldn't quite figure out the process to do, and I dreamt it, woke up the next morning and built the program. If you know anybody that needs help, whether it's yourself, because self-love is not selfish. Self-love, you know, they say if a plane is going down, put the mask on you first, because you put the mask on you first, you can help more people. You look after yourself, keep your independence, you will end up being able to help more people. And all of you here, every single one of you here, can be an inspirational story if you take hold of your turnaround or your growth, because somebody else is going to look at you and say, how did you do it? You'll be something you never ever imagined, which is inspirational to others that don't have the courage, the strength, or the know-how yet to also achieve what you're going to achieve. So if there's a neurological change, and it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be a husband or wife, it could be another loved one. What we've learned through the neurological change is that if you severed a thumb in the past, and someone turned around and said, oh, you'll never move the thumb again. We never move the thumb again because our mindset cut the connection. Now we've learned that you can remap, rewire through the brain. Anything that you don't think you can do or that you have pain or issues, you can make it better. I'm not going to promise 100% that you're going to go back and start playing, you know, at the level of sports or anything, but you can do better than you're doing today. Think about a river. There's a river that's going down to the ocean, and there's a storm, and there's all this debris that falls into the river. At some point, that water stops and the river dries up. But there's a buildup of the river behind the blockage that eventually will create new estuaries. And those new estuaries will either go around the blockage as it builds up and then find its way back to the river and find it, or it will find a new way to get to the ocean. Your brain is no different. This is the brilliance. We've never been in a better place in life to understand the power of the brain, because with all the imaging and research and changes that are going on, you now could move that thumb if you put the focus and attention into, my brain's going to touch it. All I'm thinking is the end of that thumb. I'm thinking, and it may take a month, it might take a year, it may take 2 years. But if you really want it, you can do it. So I'm going to leave you with this thought before I jump on and show you what we use. A goal has to be greater than the effort it takes to achieve it. Let me say that again. A goal has to be greater than the effort it takes to achieve it. So set your goals to the highest level. See, if the goal isn't that great and the effort's going, you'll quit because it doesn't mean enough to you. It doesn't embrace and encourage you enough to want to have everything that you can achieve, because you haven't set the goal enough. When I train people that are in there, anywhere from MS survivors or fighters, stroke survivors, people that are aging and don't think their life is going to get better, I say, what's your goal? They say, oh, I just like to walk around the house without the fear of falling. It's not a big enough goal. Well, I want to be able to walk and go and do some gardening. It's not a big enough goal. Because if you set the goal highest, all that will be taken care of within that. So do I want to go on the vacation I never took? Does, like my mother, I want to do a ballet class, or I want to ride a bike that she never ever thought she'd be able to do? Or is it there's a mountain that I used to climb, I'd love to go back up to the top of that mountain? Something that embraces your heart and your soul, that you will go through whatever it takes, because you know if you do, you'll get there. And what a feeling. But I guarantee if you get to the top of that mountain, the view won't be as great as the journey it took to get there, because you'll remember every step and you'll be so proud of yourself. But let me show you behind. I may have to adjust the camera just a little bit, if you excuse this for a second. And again, feel free at any point to ask questions. I'm here to be able to help any way that I possibly can.
Dan, we're going to let you get through your demonstration and then we'll open it up for questions.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is a balance training system that's about mobility. It engages balance. We want to multitask the brain in a safe environment while at the same time getting a cardio workout so the hippocampus gets fed new energy from movement to create better energy, movement, and passion in life of getting out and doing things. So the board is very safe. It's very simple. It also has these poles that are on here. There's two different kinds. I like these ones because they flex, which means your legs work more. But it starts off just very simple by just tapping the board into here just to feel where your balance is. Most people that lose their balance or lose their mobility or begin to feel less tend to end up not being able to go on one foot. That was Bob Eubanks. He wasn't able to do this exercise to begin with, but if he did it and he fell, the board would catch him. Then we start doing exercises that are in here that start engaging the core. We start getting the brain working on coordination. You start then working on change of direction and pressure point as well. Then we can step up, and I will tell you there's over 300 exercises on here that you go, how can there be 300 exercises? Because we're training pressure point like a baby has to learn, but we're now speeding up our messaging, doing something we did before. So as we're rocking in here, we can do different exercises. The brain now, and this is the beauty, this is my favorite thing, is the proprioceptive connection is beginning to have to adjust. So when a ground felt like it was a little scary, or I didn't have the stamina to go for long, now I'm in a safe environment where I can start doing different foot exercises while you're watching TV. Instead of sitting down and being inactive, you can do this on TV. I teach twice a week live. So you can come into the classes and do them and ask questions there with an amazing group. But we also have over 300 exercises as well online, videos that you can go on YouTube and just do them. So then we have balance training. We then have going forward and backwards in here, working, changing your feet. So all we're doing is retraining the brain how to feel the body. Think about this. When you're walking down a street and you look in a shop window and you see something you like and you're talking on the phone at the same time, and you're watching what you like and telling someone, the brain is multifunctioning without you even understanding it. Because at no point did you have to stop and think about your balance, or you couldn't talk because you're thinking about your balance. But as we begin to lose our mobility or not feel quite as safe on our feet, or we're super athletic, but we don't want to lose it, it's important that we multifunction train the brain. So for example, okay, find your balance, now run your fingers. Now, while you're balanced, look right and left and count backwards from 10 to 1. What's happening is the brain is engaging the body without even thinking about it. The better you get, the faster it goes. Now, I want to train my body. I want to go walk that mountain. I want to get stronger legs. Fine, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do my squats while I'm going in here. So I'm strengthening. But as I'm strengthening on the squats, even to get out of a chair, my feet are completely engaged in different toe pressure points. So as I stand up, I'm not off balance and not wobbling. If you want to do a cardio workout, we do this sometimes in class. We'll do 15-minute runs on here where I can just be here. And all I'm doing is running while I'm watching TV. Think about it. All of you now could be on a treadmill, could be here. You could be standing up, just walking. You could be on a 60 up. And what we're doing is we go back to the hippocampus and the proprioceptive connection. You're now generating a heart rate that gets higher that will allow the brain to feed and grow instead of being sedentary while you're strengthening your whole body at the same time. With all the different foot placements that are in here, for balance, you can strengthen one leg by putting one leg closer to the middle and finding your balance, or doing squats in this position. And then on top of that, we also have resistance bands that I didn't have with me. Let me just see if I can pull one out here. So we have resistance bands that will lock into the board. So again, the whole thing is for everyday living. So again, I'm in here, I want to bend down and pick up a bag. I want to work in here because it's all about everyday life. This is not a gym. This is not going to a gym. This is how can I get better for everyday life to be able to function and get out and continue to live while improving your overall health and brain. And that's how this was created. This is why this was created, because it's not about exercise, it's about living. So again, so many different things that you can do, but the number one thing that's important is safety, remove any fear, get stronger and better because you feel yourself changing. And if you're super fit, I used to teach, I told you, abs, thighs, and buns. You can do exercise in here that we have mothers that are super healthy that are working on doing exercises, single leg balancing, doing to the side and combining it with other exercises because it's all about your body. That's the bottom line, is it's all about your body and what action are you taking that you could do in your own home if necessary, that as the winter months go down, you've got to become or stay more active. We know during COVID, the amount of negative effect on the body, which led to the brain. People tell, oh, so many people suffered, right, during COVID. We all did mentally. And we looked at it and said, we're suffering because of isolation, because we can't go out and see people. Mm-hmm. But think about what was really going on. If your brain is stimulated by movement and you're not moving, how much of that depression, how much of that fear, how much of the messaging came in that you couldn't fight against, thinking it was just because of the mind, but truly the body wasn't feeding the brain. Because there's people, and we've seen them, we've seen people that go to jail and they work out really hard, but they're isolated and they come out fitter than they went into jail. And yet we have people that are not in jail that lose their health and fitness because they're not active. So my message to you in here, with everything that's been said, is how can you take the work that you're doing on yourself mentally and support the mental aspect of what you're doing if you ignore the body? Because the body feeds the brain as much as the brain will feed the body. Mm-hmm. You've got to build that. And I hope again today, I'm just seeing if there's any other notes that I put in here, because there was so much that I wanted to share with you. And I didn't want to miss anything out. There's just so much that I wish I could share, because I could talk for hours about this, because this really is a passion. But the passion isn't talking about, the passion is helping people, you, to turn around and go, this is for me. Not 60 up, I'm talking about the movement. If 60 up was great, that's one thing, but it wasn't created to sell, it was created to help. And if you have something else that you do, the message today is get up and get out and start moving. Move safely, increase your cardio. Wherever you start from, it doesn't matter. If you haven't worked out or gone out for a walk in all week and you've found yourself sitting on the sofa and not doing stuff, you can improve so much quicker than I can improve, because I still try and work out. I still am very, very active. So for me to improve, it's going to be more work and harder work than it is if you haven't. So you've got an advantage now in the ability to improve, because you're starting maybe not from as a higher place, but it means that your improvement will come quicker. And I guarantee you, the endorphins that you'll create, the feeling of satisfaction, the pride in you, the desire because your goal is greater than the effort and the action you're taking, I guarantee will bring you so much self-respect, self-esteem, independence, pride, because you're not going to let anybody stop you from being you, the greatest and the best of the best.
What I really like, Dan, about your product is it keeps the brain alert. It keeps us mentally strong, and it really connects those neural pathways with the physical body. And I think that's really important as we do age. because if we don't stay active physically in some way with movement, then our brain declines at the same time. And so this is really about staying connected with the mind and the body and keeping it strong without having to turn into some massive 2-hour, 4-hour routine every day. This is something we can do on a daily basis as we're doing our day, as we are on Zoom, as we are watching TV. And that's what I like, is really, how do we have more balance in our life? Well, we have to start with ourselves, everybody. We can't have more balance in the various aspects of life if we're not willing to honor our body and our mind. And that's what I like about this, about Dan's product and about his messaging, is it's really supportive to who we are and how we show up.
It's great, Lisa. My mum says that, she'll clean her teeth on it every morning, because while she's cleaning her teeth, she's balancing. And then if she's on the phone call, she'll get on a phone and stand on it. And you're engaging the brain, you're engaging the neurological, connection through there. And we say, do it 15 minutes a day. If you can do it twice a day, that's okay. We have people that now do it for an hour in the class that I teach. We go about 45 minutes in the class, but
and the class comes with this, right, Dan? You do a Facebook Live on a weekly basis, and those lives live in there.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
We actually have 3 a week. I have another lady who's phenomenal. Who
I've seen her.
Yeah.
She's really good. But the point is that you get to stay connected, and you show people routines they can do at different levels, and you help them get with alive, consistently. I think is really important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, again, it's taking action. How many times, we have people that take this now because they ran out of insurance going to physical therapy. And you don't have to book an appointment. You can do it every day. You go to a physical therapist, then you may have a few days off before you get back there again. What are you doing when you're back there? It supports physical therapy recovery. But for me, it's preventative as much as anything. Because if you're engaged with your body and you're working, you're doing these activities and training the body, you're safer. The number one cause of decline in an aging person is a fall. It's the number one thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not actually the fall, although that can be devastating. It's actually the lack of recovery and the fear that it brings. But again, I use it every day.
It's the brain. When we fall, what happens? We get discouraged, right? That we do. And we start to think, oh my gosh, especially if we are older when we fall, then we think, oh, this is the sign, because maybe we had a parent or we had a friend that fell and then their hip never recovered and then they shut down. So there's a lot that goes on with it. I'd like to open it up to the group. And Dan, have you fielded some questions, or either one of us?
Yeah, no, I'd love it. Just to add to that, Lisa, while people are hopefully writing some questions in, think about fear. Fear freezes the brain. And the inability to be able to move, we know a deer in headlights, right? It knows a car's coming, it knows it should move, but fear freezes. We're the same. When we lose confidence or allow the brain to be shut down instead of allow it to happen naturally. So many people have said, I began to fall and normally I would have fell, in the past I would have fallen, and I'm suddenly they're going, I'm standing up. What happened? The brain took over. We didn't have to think about it. It reacted because we had trained. Right. And again, it's the same as anything in life. I see Melody put in here, insurance should cover this product for health. We're working, trying to get the insurance companies. There's a lot of red tape to go through, but we have so many doctors. We have doctors we support the veterans. We have got thousands.
They do have something in for insurance, everyone, but it isn't, you're not going to get it insurance approved right now. It's not a super expensive product. You can do that later. Robin, do you want to type your question in for us? Robin has a question.
Love to. Also, Lisa, we are FSA and HSA approved. So if someone can gets
Hi, Dan.
Hi, how are you?
What you have said, it makes sense. I agree how important to move your body, because I used to be a dancer and athletic, but right now I have health challenges. I'm dealing with advanced breast cancer, and I'm working on medical fundraiser. So my body's it's very sensitive, and I be trying to figure out how to deal with my body trauma. I mean, I'm okay with the trauma. I did a lot of healing work, but the body's still there, and I'm highly sensitive person. So I found a best way to do medical King Kong on my YouTube. But you get bored, see the same person over and over and over again. I need to change it up. But I was looking for somebody to work with me one-on-one. And it's not easy to find them to create a very basic customized to my body that can handle. And I kind of stopped. I've been living sanitary for a long time too. And I never knew how important to move your body because they don't tell people in the deaf community I'm deaf. So I didn't get that message. So I realized that now I'm able to say I got all kinds of problems inside, like nervous system, failure, under subtle energy level. And I was trying to figure out what's the best way to move. When I walk, I get tired. I don't know.
So the thing is, you can go to our videos. You don't have to have the board. We have over 300 videos. You can come and join our live group for free. Just apply, and then you can do the exercises without the board. It's not as effective, but you know what? The whole point is move. And, you know, as you look at this, Robin, it's great that you're recognizing you've been neglecting your body. But let's just say you have these exercises that you go and do and you're bored doing them. After them, or as you're doing them, go watch one and write down notes. The next time I do it, I'm going to add this to it. You start creating your own workouts along with their workouts. So say, for example, they're doing something where, you know, they're doing squats in here. You might go, okay, I'm going to put my arms out. I'm going to put my arms down. I'm going to put my arms out. And you start adding your own things in there. So you become the instructor to yourself. There's a saying that I love. The greatest teachers aren't the ones with the most students. The greatest teachers are the ones that create the most teachers. Those are real teachers, right? Anybody that doesn't create something greater in their student ends up being a controller that limits their growth. So if you're in here, you can say, I'm doing the squats, I'm going to do my right arm up and down and do my left arm up and down. You're helping yourself become the greatest teacher by them being minimalistic. As far as they can only do so much, right? When you record, I can only do so much. You can only watch it so many times, but you have the power to create. And again, all of you are welcome. You can come and join my Facebook group and come and do the exercises with me or look at the exercises. We save all of them. And if you wanted to get the board, that's fine. I mean, that's great because it does help so much. But if not, you can do all the exercises on the ground. It just won't have the same effect. We've got over 300 different classes. It would take you a whole year in there to come and do it.
When you say bored, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I was watching Amazon, and not Amazon, Prime Member video with closed captions. Is that what you're talking about? When you say board,
No.
I was trying to figure out what board.
No, he's standing on a board.
Yeah,
He's standing on this board right here.
Oh.
Mhm.
And stuff. And again,
I see. Okay, I got you.
Okay.
it's so it's 360 degrees. I can put my foot on the red ball and be working on here, getting the foot activated, getting the muscles engaged. So all these different things. Again, we have people that create their own exercise. The great thing about Lisa's husband is he has a whole nother, you know, I create what I know on here. Steve creates 50 more things that he needs for his students. You'll create your own programs as well, because it's not about doing an exercise, it's about developing you. And as you feel, you'll change. But
yeah.
Again, you know,
my husband is a physical therapist, everyone, and he sees the value and the wisdom in it. And so together we're kind of like, wow, we want to help people heal. We want to help people on different levels to heal. Dan, tell us, does anybody else have a question? I know it's getting late here. Does anyone else have a direct question for Dan? Otherwise, I'd like him to share how to get it. Just take yourself off mute if you have a question about anything he said.
I have a question, Lisa.
Yes, Sylvia.
So like two things. One, I have kind of tennis elbow, but it keeps as soon as it gets better, then it goes away. It goes away, it gets better, and then it comes back. And so I fell recently and really got hurt. And so I hurt my elbow actually again. when you were using the resistance bands with those to do the picking up the bag, like it hurts to pick up a cup in the car. So would that help? That would using this still help that also?
Yeah, so again, with tennis elbow, and if that's the injury, I don't know if the tennis elbow is the injury or you hurt your elbow because you fell, and tennis elbow is also a byproduct of that.
No, I already had it before, and then it kind of reactivated it.
Yes.
But I had just gotten over it.
No, absolutely. Look, movement is critical to healing anything. And if you keep it sedentary, of course, you want to isolate it for a short time right afterwards. You put the ice on it, you know, you isolate it from banging or moving around a little bit, but you want to start the movement as quick as you can, but not the movement that hurts. You do as much mobilization as you can without pain. As soon as you begin to feel that pain, that's as far as you go. Then the next day, can I go a little bit further? And you slowly allow it to engage again as it's coming in there. Then you want to strengthen the muscle. See, with tennis elbow, there's a tightness that's come in because, again, it's a form of, you know, arthritis or rheumatism. It's a form of the similar type of pain where you're limited on the movement. And again, once you start freeing up, you want to strengthen the muscles around it and keep mobility going so it supports the joint and the movement. This would help. The reason we put resistance bands on here, it's the safest movement that you can possibly do to increase your muscular strength. We don't want to have it where you're having to do anything that's joint derivative. Resistance bands will move with your natural movement.
Okay.
And so again, you don't want to have to be twisting your body or doing stuff or moving your body to fit a machine. When we had our gyms, when I opened my gyms, I didn't have weight machines that were restrictive in movement. It had to be something that would fit to your body because we're all built different. There's no one machine that would fit everybody. And that's why when we put resistance bands here, it will fit your body. Will it help you? I'm 100% sure that if you put the right attention into your recovery and you train yourself so that you don't fall again, or, you know, lessen the chance, or there's no such thing. Sometimes I'll go running in the woods and I'll trip on a tree stump. I'm still going down, right?
Yeah.
In everyday activities, my body's trained not to fall. That, you know, you prevent that, but you've got to grow from it. You can't just go, okay, I'm not going to fall. I feel better. I'm safe. I'm confident. You still want to continue to train to a higher level, like when you have the hippocampus, how it changed the decline. It grew 2%. So it got better, and you can continue to do that as the years go on.
Okay, and so this is an easy yes or no. My parents are in their early 80s, late 70s, and my dad kind of walks like an old man. And I know he's 81, but I feel like he was walking that way because he thinks that's how he's supposed to walk. And so, you know, so this, if I got them something like this to do, because they sit on the sofa all day long, this would be helpful to getting him to quit doing that little old man walk, right?
As long as he follows the program. That's why I designed the program. We've got videos out there. We teach how to make it better. This is what happens. This is what I discovered with Bob, because the old man walk that you're talking about, let me move this out of the way, is this, right? Let me, I didn't understand. I thought all we got to do is strengthen the hip flexors, strengthen the core, strengthen the legs. He's going to walk better. The reason people walk like that is because they're scared of stepping on one leg. As soon as they lift one leg off, they feel they're going to fall. So it's not that this is how this got created, because I saw Bob doing this and I said, you know, let's lift your legs. He couldn't do this, but as soon as I put his hands against the wall, he could do this all day long. It's a brain issue. It's a confidence issue. It's a fear issue. So that's where this exercise came in to begin with. Tapping, look what I'm doing. The leg that's working isn't the one that's lifting. The leg that's working is the one that's on the ground. That's my safety. Then people say, what about gait? Gait is a problem. It means I don't walk properly. So we have this just here. And what you're actually learning to do is take a longer stride than you normally would. But what we're really doing is balancing on one leg. So as we go through it, then you have the single leg in here where I hold up and I've got to touch the pole, touch the pole, touch the pole. What's working? The leg that's on the ground. So now when your dad begins to walk, he now has the confidence to do this because he's used to walking on one leg. So when people say they've got gait issues, when they say they've got shuffle issues, it's not because they can't walk properly. It's because they're scared that if they take 1 foot off the ground, they're going to fall and they're gone. And all we have to do, and it comes back, I love that you asked this question. This is what it's about. Retraining the brain to feel the body, send quick messages. See, balance training isn't about being balanced. Balance training is when I'm in here, and it's really mobility training. Staying centered isn't training. That's found my static center. As soon as the ball begins to rock and I correct it, that's balance training, because we want to correct what's going wrong before it gets to an extreme where I'm falling. And if your brain naturally says, oh, I need to put pressure here, I need to put pressure here, which is what babies did learning to walk, what we do every day, then you've trained yourself to be able to be confident. See, when we walk, if I'm walking towards you, I'm not walking in a center line. I'm actually, and I'm going to exaggerate, I'm actually walking on my right foot, my left foot, my right foot, my left foot. So we're actually rocking it. Feel it. When you get up and walk, feel what's happening. But because we're used to transferring our weight left and right, we think we're walking in a straight line. And so as your dad wants to get better, have it where he can then go onto 1 foot and feel, oh, I'm a little off, I'll correct. I'm a little off, I'll correct. And that's what happens.
Okay.
Sylvia, it would help your father. It would help each one of us, and it would help those that we love, because as it sounds like your father's just slowing down, and he has this belief of what 80 looks like or should be like.
Mhm.
Yeah. So everyone, because I went ahead, Dan is offering us a special on his product for 60 up. And I also put his Facebook link in there. If you're on my email list, I'll put the link in the email, but it's really just for my group, everyone. And it's because I literally begged him to come on, because I believe in his product so much, and because I believe in Dan.
Thank you.
So if it speaks to you, this is a great gift for yourself for Hanukkah or Christmas, really. I think it's the best thing we can do is keep our mind and our physical body strong. That's the best gift we can give ourselves.
And just to add to that, we, again, no matter what, I have college athletes that come in here and train on that. They take the poles out and use them for different exercises. But if you want to strengthen up your legs, your core, your glutes, everything, it's just a great workout. But we do have the holiday sale on now, but I just put a code in there for anybody.
So did I. Put it, it's Dan 10, right? I put the bit link, I put the link in there and the code, and I'll put it on Facebook too. So it's not like it's this moment, but what's our time frame, Dan, for this?
You mean for the code?
Yeah.
2 minutes and counting. No, I'm joking. Thanks for laughing though. No, it will go all the way through till Christmas Day.
Okay. Fair enough.
So it's, but again,
so it's on special anyway. And then you gave us the extra 10, which pretty much pays for shipping is what that does. That's a nice gift. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's, but again, you can use that code anytime, even if it's next year,
Oh, okay.
So
it's not special to us. That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying it's special to you, but I'll leave it open for you at all times.
Okay, we like that, don't we, everyone?
Yeah. No, it's just the sale price that goes up after Christmas.
Okay.
That's
okay.
It will go back up another whatever it is. But again, I'm here to help. Again, I know what Lisa does. I love what Lisa does. I'm not here to, trying to say it because Lisa's here. I've known Lisa now for, 9 months, 10 months, very closely working together. And I love what she teaches. We have a very similar mindset on empowering ourselves and everybody else around us. And so if I can be of any help and support Lisa anytime I can and however I can, I really appreciate your time and allowing me to be here with you and share my messaging.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for being on, working with technical difficulties. We will put it up in the group, and ask me questions, ask Dan questions. He's in the group, and let's get stronger together. Okay. Mentally and physically. All right. Anybody else have their hand up? Yeah, go ahead. I didn't see any other hands up.
What, Dan, can you please show some exercises to do without those handy dandy poles, please?
Sure. Look, again, if you didn't want the poles in here, and it comes apart really quickly. I mean, you can literally just pull the poles out. And as a dancer, when I was a dancer, there's so many different exercises. So I've got the squats in here that comes up, you're squeezing, you're working in here. I got to try and balance. I'm twisting side to side, feeding the feet. I can be in here. I can run on the side. I can step, push through here. I can be on it's getting a little bit more advanced. I can jump and try and balance and step down. I can step up. So everything you do with the board, I can do little shuffle steps off, little touch, feeling the ground moving underneath us. Again, it's limitless. I can run, I can be doing out, out, in. You're working your feet, feeling different things. I can step up from the side and feel the board moving forward and backwards. So I'm engaging my toe heel pressure points. Again, and then I can take the bands, and in here I can balance, go into a slight squat. Here's my bicep curl, the back pull up, the dog pull, the shoulder raise, the arm push. So there's so many different exercises you can do, or even where you engage them all together. So again, we're working everything. And again, if the board, see, I'm getting out of breath now, it's a great workout. But the board is, if it goes on the carpet, it will be easier. If you move it onto a harder surface, but you always want to have a thin mat. We have a thin mat that I put under the board, then put it on the concrete. And it's a lot harder. People are surprised. They go, oh, it's not, doesn't rock that much, because their carpet's thick. Put it onto a different surface. But again, so many things. Oh,
Wait, there's more.
yeah, push-ups. You can get into here and doing all your push-ups, upper body stuff, so the board will rock. So by maintaining that center, it helps dynamic tension. I can turn it around and use it for sit-ups. So I'm in here, sitting up, where I can scoot back, and now I've got to do an uphill sit-up. So again, it engages your core. I can do balancing in the center. This one's pretty crazy, because until I started using that, I didn't know you could train your butt muscles. I can actually feel the pressure point on my butt muscles, which I shouldn't be talking about here. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But again, the beautiful thing here is that you will also create exercises that you love, new challenges. And you can see I'm a little out of breath. I just want to ask, is it Chigo?
Chigo, are you still on? She's on.
Yeah.
There we go.
I've never seen that name before. I love it.
Thank you.
And all of you, it's a pleasure meeting you all as well. And again, like I said, if you want to reach out or find me in any way that I can help, I'm happy to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. What's it called? It's called 60 Up. And I put the link in the group. You can scroll up there. There's the link to his Facebook group. I put it in there. In fact, I might still have it copied that I can put it in again. There we go. That's his group, private Facebook group. And you can do the exercises standing up that he teaches for the 60 Up device.
And come and join us. We have the most amazing group. Everyone there it's a private group. You just asked to come in, same as Lisa's. And we'll let you in, and then everyone, you'll see people of all different ages, of veterans that suffer from Agent Orange, that have neurological diseases that are there, people that haven't walked in 5 years back walking, and athletes that are still car racers. But the beautiful thing is everybody supports everybody. It's the most positive energy you could find. It encourages you to want to keep striving for your best. I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Kathy teaches on Wednesdays, and then it's posted live afterwards if you want to come and do that as well.
Any other questions, everyone?
So I'm going to say Julie, Cindy, Dina, HC, that's highest class, Melody, Samsung, Donna, Chigo, Petrea. There you are, Dina. Hi, pretty smart. Nice to see you. And Robin. And of course, Lisa, thank you so much. That's everyone can see, but I want to, say thanks so much.
You are welcome. Thank you for sharing your brilliance with us, your genius zone, and for your share, just being here with us, answering questions and gifting us. So we really appreciate you, Dan.
Amazing group. Keep
We'll do
doing
something again.
highest
Okay.
level of excellence. I'll see you later.
All right, everyone. Happy holidays. Sending you lots of love. So grateful you're in my life and in my world. Bye-bye.
Thank you.